Have you been thinking about moving out of the town that you live in or out of the state? Have you been thinking about moving to Wake Forest, North Carolina? If you have, stay tuned. I'm going to talk to you about the pros and cons of living in Wake Forest. Hello, let's jump right into it. Today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living in Wake Forest. I'm going to start with the good news first. Let's talk about all the pros of living in Wake Forest. Pro number one, Wake Forest is a town right outside of Raleigh, which is the capital of North Carolina, and it is a small town. It has a small town feel to it. So currently there are about 49,000 residents and it's growing. So people here always feel very close-knit together. So if you're looking for a town where you can have a close-knit feeling and feel like you know everyone, Wake Forest is the town for you. Wake Forest has a lot of subdivisions or communities where people reside in, and most of those communities have HOAs, and those HOAs typically have social committees, and those social committees usually plan events around the members, the people that live in the community, and they have all sorts of activities. They have seasonal activities, and some of those communities even have amenities like pools, tennis courts, and playgrounds. So people find that when they go out to walk around in their neighborhood, they quickly make friends and become really close to their neighbors. So very friendly community here in Wake Forest, close-knit community. So if you're looking for that, Wake Forest is a great place for you. Pro number two. Pro number two is that Wake Forest has beautiful parks. It has the Millbridge Park, the Smith Creek Park. There's a dog park called Clarity Park. And there's also the biggest park that we have here is called Joyner Park. And that's a park that has 117 acres. It has a bunch of trails. It has a pavilion where they host outdoor concerts and different types of events. And recently they added a community center where you can go and sign up for different classes and different things to do. So if you're looking for a town that has parks, trails, and some hiking, Wake Forest is for you. Pro number three. Pro number three is that Wake Forest is growing. So lots of businesses are coming into the area, and some of those businesses are grocery stores, bakeries, restaurants. So in Wake Forest, we have a vast array of different type of grocery stores. So we have them all. We have Wegmans, Harris Teeter, Food Lion, Lowe's Foods. We also have Target. They have a grocery section. Lidl, Aldi. You have your Dollar General, the dollar store, and of course you have a Walmart here as well. So if you go out shopping looking for the best prices or the best produce, you'll be sure to find it here in Wake Forest. Pro number four of living in Wake Forest. Pro number four is that we have close proximity to everything. So if you want to go to the beach, you want to do a day trip, that's just 2 hours and maybe 15 minutes away. If you want to go to the mountains on a day trip, or just for one night, that's about 3 hours to the nearest mountains. So you get the best of both worlds here by living right in the middle of the state. Also, we're about 30 minutes, or Wake Forest is about 30 minutes from the international airport. So it's super convenient if you're looking to travel abroad. It's a hop and a skip away, just 30 minutes away. Pro number five, the great weather in Wake Forest. Wake Forest has all 4 seasons, but it really has a really mild winter. So spring is barely noticed that spring happens. We kind of go right straight into summer, but you don't get the harsh winters here, which is really great. You don't have to deal with snow. People always worry about tornadoes and hurricanes. We're so far inland that we really don't have to worry about hurricanes and tornadoes. Occasionally you do get some tornado warnings, but warnings are not the same as there's an actual tornado. But you do get your warnings here and there, but nothing to fret about. You just have to be cautious, watch the news, and make sure that you know where to go in case you need to take shelter. Let's go ahead and get to the cons now. So every city has a con. Some of the cons that you will find here in Wake Forest is con number 1, which is traffic. With all the growth that Wake Forest is seeing and experiencing, we're starting to see a lot more traffic. And as a result of new subdivisions coming in, they're rerouting the streets. Now, a street that you were able to go down and make the left, you're no longer able to do that. If there was a stop sign, you may see like a circle now where everybody has to like give everybody a chance to go through the circle. In some new subdivisions, you can't even find the street. You know, your GPS won't even pick it up. And people that come from all different states here, and they drive very differently. So in North Carolina, typically, if you're at a stoplight, people do not honk once the light turns green. But we're starting to see a lot more people coming in and honking those horns and being impatient with the person in front of them. Con number 2. Con number 2 is a twofold. So in the springtime, we do have to deal with both pollen and mosquitoes. Well, let's get to the pollen. The pollen is like a sandstorm here. It covers everything. So for about a month, people here don't even wash their car. It's hard to sit outside on your porch because it gets covered with the green pollen. Everything gets covered in pollen. If you're used to opening your windows, forget about doing that because the pollen is just going to get inside. And the mosquitoes are, I don't know what they're eating down here, but they're sneaky. You could be full clothed. They get in there and they bite you. They almost seem like they can roll down your socks and just bite you. So both the mosquitoes and pollen, something to think about. If you're not into mosquitoes, they're quite large here. Con number 3 about living in Wake Forest is the limited transportation. So Wake Forest does have a bus transportation service, and it does the Wake Forest Loop. The bus goes into the Triangle Town Center, and it also goes downtown. But that's about it. So if you do not have a car here, we do not have much public transportation for you. Just the Wake Forest Loop and those 2 express routes that go to the mall and to downtown Raleigh. Con number 4. Con number 4 is, I mentioned this before, the vast majority of the neighborhoods are within HOAs. And when you live in an HOA, you have fees. And some of the fees are monthly, some are annual. And with those fees come restrictions. So you're not allowed to do certain things, or you are allowed to do certain things, but you have to ask for permission to do so. So for example, if your house is blue and now you want to paint the exterior light blue, you can't just get up and paint it light blue. You have to make an architectural request, and the board has to grant you the ability to do so. Also, things could get really strict with the HOAs, but they're there to keep the values of the home up. But some of them can be really strict. For example, they may say that you can only have certain materials for the fence. So they may only allow you to have a black aluminum fence, and maybe you want a privacy wooden fence. You won't be able to get that. That sort of thing. Con number 5 is that part of Wake Forest is also a little bit country on rural roads. So you will find that those roads are just one lane coming and going 45 miles per hour. At night, they're pretty dark, so you do have to get used to driving at night and, driving in those winding roads. The plus to that, if you live outside the city limits, is that you normally or technically, generally, pay less taxes. But if you don't like driving at night or driving in the rain, then living in the outside the city limits is going to feel a little bit uncomfortable for you. So there you have it. What do you think? Do you think that Wake Forest is the town for you? If you do not hesitate to reach out. My name is Lizmary Caban, and I'm a local real estate agent in town, and I'll be more than happy to show you around. For more information, or if you would like to get in touch with me and talk a little bit more about what Wake Forest offers, just look in the comments and the link below, and you'll be able to get in contact with me.